Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining me today in my conversation with Mustafa Abdulaziz, a senior consulting manager from our partners at Comarch. First of all, good morning, Mustafa, and thanks for joining us today. And it's a pleasure. And I'm delighted also that you'll be joining us on the 4th of June as our Diamond Partners at our P2P Transformation Summit at the wonderful Waldorf. And, you know, all of a sudden, the 4th of June seems like it's just around the corner. What are you most looking forward to about the day?
Yeah, thank you very much, Alan. Hi, everyone. Good morning. So honestly, Alan, about actually the summit, it's really the energy of the real world, right? So we spent so much time, particularly lately, looking at technical specifications, tax mandates around the world, and API documentation, right? That sometimes really we lose sight actually of the people behind the screens, right? So I'm most looking forward actually to those hallway conversations, and also hearing in somehow what I call the infiltrate challenges, right? Whether tax managers, finance directors, or P2P leaders are facing, right? So, and as you mentioned, I mean, we are indeed a diamond partner is great, right? But the real value, I think, is in the exchange of ideas and us actually seeing how our UK community literally is preparing for the this ripple effects of global e-invoicing, right? And it's always, you know, for me, it is always a highlight, to be honest.
Thank you very much. Well, we're delighted to have you with us. And you know what? It really is about that connection and connectivity with the community and having everybody there. So many thought leaders and experts and ideas, and just to get that community together and exchange that information. It's really, and I referred to it at the event last year, it's like a cauldron of ideas, and what comes out of that is always greater than the sum of its parts. So I think that's you're right in that in so many respects. And do you think with all of those changes that are going on in the world at the moment, do you think there's a special place for events like this where you can actually connect and engage and be supported and learn?
Yeah, more than ever, Alan, to be honest, more than ever. So we are currently, you know, in what I call literally, besides actually the worldwide events, right? But also from either perspective or tax compliance, etc. We are in what I call a digital hurricane, right? So if we see it from compliance lenses, right, with the rapid shift towards either VIDA, VAT actually in digital age in Europe, and the evolving HMRC landscape, we are literally even today, right? People are feeling overwhelmed, to say the least, right? So I think events like that provide, I would say, a safe harbor in somehow. To be honest, that's how I feel it. And you can read, for instance, literally, you can read a white paper alone, but of course, you cannot commiserate or brainstorm with a paper through PDF, right? Or with a peer through PDF. So from that perspective, these events are at most important, particularly at the right time. So this isn't just about, I think, it's not just about learning. It is about professional solidarity somehow, and knowing you are not the only one, right? Trying to, I'd say, figure out how to bridge the gap between procurement and tax compliance, between your IT teams and finance, between tax and compliance, etc. Right? And this is incredibly validating and reassuring, isn't it?
Absolutely, you know, and it's that's key element about not being alone that, as you say, is so important, because we all experience those same issues in different ways depending on the type of company that we have, and perhaps the different kinds of processing that we use, but the people are fundamentally the same, and obviously the regulations and compliant issues are the same. And so when you get those people together to compare and contrast, actually, you know, you can come up with some new ideas, you know, certainly different technologies, and how to kind of overcome some of those challenges, for sure. And Sorry, and I know that you're bringing. I'm delighted to hear that you're bringing a customer of yours to the event on the 4th of June, who has in fact undergone a large global transformation and has seen that firsthand, experienced some of those issues firsthand, and learned how to overcome them across several different countries, I believe. So, what would you say are the sort of major advantages and perhaps pitfalls to avoid when undergoing any kind of e-invoicing or major transformation program?
That's really important, and thank you for pointing that. Actually, indeed, as you mentioned, it's fantastic actually that one of our customers will be sharing their journey, their proper journey, their experience actually from the field, and also how Comarch actually helped them in terms of governance, in terms of technology, in terms of support. So to put it in a nutshell, of course, without spoiling it too much, we leave the gist of it to the 4th of June. So for the advantages of such approach, I would output it as one, operational velocity. I mean by that, we are moving from, I would say, days of work, literally, to seconds of invoice processing, right? When we're talking about invoicing, right? And also, of course, it goes through automation, it goes through leveraging and technology, the tools, etc. And there is another point is also what we call data integrity. When you automate compliance, right, you eliminate those tasks actually, like manual tasks, and therefore you eliminate the human error, and therefore the tax risk, and that keeps, of course, CFOs up at night. And for those points, actually, like straight points, of course, our guests on the summit will go deeper in terms of the full picture of advantages, right? And in terms of pitfalls, I would say most important thing is the siloed trap, right? When you are really siloed, like the case of many companies, right? They treat e-invoicing as a, let's say, IT project or just tax project or finance project. But in reality, throughout our experience, throughout the return on experience from the field, etc., an e-invoicing project or largely a compliance project is a business process transformation, literally. So if your procurement team isn't talking to your tax team, right, or your IT folks are not aware of the compliance needs, right, and the work or the workload actually they need to put in, the implementation will clearly stumble, right? So this is literally one of the important points. And then another pitfall, I would say, it is underestimating what I call the local flavors when it comes to compliance, right? That means you can't use one size fits all approach, right? For Italy, for France, for the UK, for Ireland, every country has what I call its different flavor, right? Of the CTC, continuous transaction control. And for the local flavor, you need to take the necessary time to prepare, do, check, and then act, right? So when we say actually the UK e-invoicing mandate is at the horizon of April 2029, right? The preparation work for that starts now, I think, right? So this is really important, I think, to highlight within the pitfalls. And of course, we invite our audience here actually to join us on the summit, actually, to get more insights from our guests and from this panel discussion.
Yes, indeed, Mustafa. No extra giveaways today. You have to actually come to the event. And in fact, you should see the ticker going across the bottom of the screen at the moment, which gives you the details and also the URL as well. So you can pick that out and put that into your browser. Then you'll get all the information about the event on the 4th of June. But yes, Mustafa, I think that the visibility is that you've just highlighted is is super key, isn't it? And I think certainly across all of those different departments, you're able to get some kind of holistic view of what's going on across not just your individual departments, but globally. So I'm interested to hear your take on this. How do you think that your customers and professionals generally feel or should feel about compliance? Is it a headache or is it an opportunity?
Alan, I get asked this daily, right? Let alone actually the instances of, community instances, whether it involves tax compliance, etc. So to be honest, if you view compliance as a tick box exercise, it will be, it will always be a headache and an extensive one, right? However, the real thought leaders, whether P2P directors, tax managers, IT directors, if they see it as an opportunity, right, or they should see it as an opportunity actually to clean house, literally. So I think compliance forces you to digitize throughout, the different specifications, the different requirements. Once you are digital, you have data, don't you? Right. Once you have data, you have visibility, clearly. So, and after that, you can then optimize cash flow, negotiate better early payment discounts, and harden your supply chain, right, etc. And many other points actually within the business process that you can enhance, etc. And you would think, a little bit out of the box and indeed see actually where actually this compliance would help you, or the consequence of the compliance would help you. And compliance is, I would say, if we put it in two words, like I think compliance would be simply the regulatory engine that powers actually your digital transformation, if you see it as opportunity from the beginning, right? And it is synonym of opportunity, literally, right? So that's why actually in different community instances, we are driving this message that don't chase the compliance mandates, whether in invoicing or others. Don't chase the mandate itself, but rather think of it as an opportunity. Take a step back, think what your literally pain points are, and tackle that within actually the invoicing implementation framework or project, right? At the end of this, you are compliant, but you dealt with several problems that you had already or that you had before, and therefore you are thinking strategic than just chasing the mandate or firefighting actually the compliance aspect of it.
Yeah, and I guess that kind of makes it easier in a way, doesn't it? Because you are, in essence, like changing your mindset. And I think so much of what we do in a transformation project has to do with your sort of your psychology to some extent, and your thinking about it. Yes, as you say, you've got to be compliant, and yes, you have to put that transformation program throughout your organization. But it's making sure that you are coming about it in the right way, right from the start. And I guess we can't talk about a transformation program without mentioning AI. And I know that you are very excited to be introducing our lunchtime keynote speaker, Anne-Marie Imafidon, MBE, and her thoughts about the future of work and AI in particular. Do you think that it's something that we need to be a bit afraid of, or do you see AI as something which is going to support us in the future? What are your personal thoughts and Comarch's thoughts on that?
Yeah, Ellen, I'm a huge fan of Mary's work, and I can't wait actually to introduce her to other June 4th. So regarding AI, I lean firmly toward looking forward to it, right? But with a healthy dose of human-centric caution, I would say, if you put it that way, right? So, of course, in P2P, AI is, in my opinion, actually, isn't here actually to replace P2P manager, right? If we can say it, right? It's here to replace the drudgery, right?
Mm.
It's the end of manual data entry, and it's somehow the beginning of predictive analytics. So if we see it from that perspective, and that's my humble opinion, it will be an opportunity, right? So I will allow us actually to spot fraud before it happens and predict supply chain disruptions before they land. Eventually, to give you a couple of examples, so we should stop worrying about losing jobs, right, and start getting excited about losing the boring parts of our jobs, right? And I would humbly say it this way and consider it as an opportunity, of course, emphasizing, as I mentioned earlier, the human-centric caution, right? So for responsible or for the thought leaders or eventually strategic thinkers within companies and organizations, they need actually also to put this human-centric aspect while introducing AI indeed at strategic level within the organizations.
Yes, I guess that's right. And making a plan for it. I mean, you mentioned earlier on about making sure that you plan in advance for things like, for example, our UK e-invoicing mandate in 2029, which to some degree still sounds like a way down the road. And yet I think very shortly it's going to seem like it's just around the corner. But I think you're absolutely right in the fact that we need to make sure that we've got that human element right at the center, and that we're using that AI to support our originality and our human thoughts and experience. But it's helping us to do that at speed, isn't it? And you mentioned P2P managers just there, and the strategic nature of those managers who are going to be using the AI in their processing in the future, which leads me on to talk about our awards. And you are Comarch will be sponsoring or supporting our P2P Manager of the Year award at the event, and we'll be celebrating that the success at the 4th of June or from the main stage. Why do you think it's important to celebrate that kind of success as we do?
Yeah, it's really important, and at this point, particularly because you mentioned actually P2P manager, I think because for too long, I think P2P was seen as a back office function, right? The people who keep actually the lights on, but stay in somehow in the shadows, right? So today, I think a P2P manager is if I put it this way, a strategic architect, right?
Mm-hmm.
They manage actual global risk, drive ESG initiatives, thought actually through all the supply diversity, and of course many other responsibilities, and also most importantly, they protect actually the company bottom line. So celebrating success at the awards isn't for Comarch isn't just about the trophy as per se. It's about, of course, elevating the entire profession, particularly when we talk about P2P, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at Comarch, actually, I think we want to shine a light actually on the fact that particularly P2P is now a frontline strategic department, particularly when it comes to different compliance aspects, right? And we see that literally in invoicing throughout the different countries we implemented already. The UK coming next, Ireland as well. So from that point of view, indeed, I think P2P needs actually to be shown as frontline strategic department, and as once said, actually, success celebrated and shared is success multiplied in somehow, right? And that's what's Comarch aims for, literally.
That is a perfect explanation of all of what we're trying to celebrate and encourage people to celebrate here at PPN. So I'm really pleased that we've got Comarch's supporting that as well. So, and I've just put the ticker along the bottom. You should see for the awards. So again, you guys listening today, if you pick up that URL, post that into your browser, you can see all of the awards that we will be celebrating on the 4th of June at Waldorf. And then don't forget, the nominations close, you haven't got long, next Friday. So if you haven't yet put your nominations in, do pick up that URL, which is going along the screen at the bottom now, put that into your browser and make those nominations. We can't wait to see them all and to celebrate your success and hard work that you've been doing throughout the year. But with that, Mustafa, I think we'll end our conversation today, because I think that's a perfect place to end. Talking about P2P managers being the strategic architect. I really do think that's a good future to celebrate and to end this conversation on. For sure, there are many changes ahead, and we look forward to speaking to you on the 4th of June, and for everybody else to join us there as well. But for now, thank you very much, Mustafa, for sharing your thoughts and insights today.
Thank you, Ellen. I can't wait actually to see everyone on June the 4th, and it's going to be an insightful day, I'm sure.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us, and see you all very, very soon. Have a good day, all. Thanks, Mustafa. Bye-bye.